Soft sound of Lena humming in the kitchen. "Morning, love," she said today, her voice warm, coaxing me from sleep. I smiled, wrapping my arms around her from behind. "Morning," I replied, breathing in her familiar scent. "Coffee's ready," she added, nudging me toward the mug. "Thanks," I muttered, sipping slowly. "You're spoiling me. You deserve it," she said with a wink, sliding a plate of pancakes toward me. "After all that hard work?" I chuckled. "Hard work, huh? Feels like I barely noticed the hours flying by." "Because you love what you do," she said, sitting across from me. "And because I take care of the rest." Her words made me pause. I glanced at her, a faint suspicion tugging at the edge of my mind. Lately, she'd been secretively nights, missed calls, that little frown she couldn't hide when her phone buzzed. But I shook it off. "You've been working too hard." "Yourself," I said, trying to keep the mood light. Lena waved a hand. "I'm fine, really. Don't worry about me." I wanted to believe her. I wanted to believe in this perfect life we'd built, me running my business, her managing our home, dinners together, laughter spilling late into the night. But even as I looked at her, smiling, I felt a flicker of unease. Later, Mr. Blackwood came for his usual Sunday visit. He greeted me with a firm handshake that made my palms sweat. "Good morning," he said, his eyes scanning the room like a hawk. I nodded, trying to match his intensity. Lena took his arm. "Dad, don't intimidate him," she teased, though her eyes flicked to mine briefly. He chuckled, but the laugh didn't reach his eyes. "I just expect respect," he said, settling into the armchair. "You're doing well with your company, I hear?" "Thanks, sir," I replied. "Things are going smoothly. We've expanded a bit this quarter." "Good," he said, nodding once. Silence followed, thick and slightly suffocating. Lena squeezed my hand under the table, offering a quick smile. Returned it, grateful for the small comfort. Later that afternoon, Lena asked me to help rearrange the study. As we moved books and papers, she laughed at a clumsy stumble of mine. "Careful. You're going to crush the floorboards," she teased. "I might crush more than that if I'm not careful," I joked back, trying to match her cheer. She laughed again, but it sounded forced this time. I frowned slightly. "Everything okay?" "Course," she said, brushing past me to grab a stack of files. "It's just a lot to handle today. I didn't press. I should have." But I trusted her. I wanted to trust her. And yet, the unanswered phone calls, the quiet whispers when I walked into the room, they lingered like shadows. That night, I sat in my office, glancing at the framed photos of our smiles, our adventures, our life together. Lena peeked in, her hair falling across her shoulders. "Still working?" she asked softly. "Yeah," I replied. "Just making sure everything's perfect like us." She smiled, stepping closer. "We're perfect," she said. And for a moment, I believed her. But deep down, I felt a pang I couldn't shake. Something wasn't right. And though I didn't know it yet, the storm was already gathering beyond the walls of our perfect life. I stepped into the apartment, keys jingling in my hand, expecting the warm scent of dinner or Lena humming softly. Instead, the door was ajar, and a bright, harsh light flooded the hallway. "Sir, stay there," a voice commanded. I froze. 2 police officers stood inside, hands on their belts. "What's going on?" I stammered. "You're under arrest for the murder of Andrew Carmichael," the taller one said flatly. My stomach dropped. "What? That's impossible. I don't even know Andrew," I protested, panic tightening my chest. "Sir, we have witnesses and CCTV footage placing you at the scene," he said, his tone leaving no room for argument. I glanced behind them. Lena stood in the living room, arms crossed, her expression cold and unreadable. You did this?" I whispered, disbelief making my throat tight. "I can't believe you," she said softly, almost mockingly. "After everything, Andrew is dead, and you're responsible." "No, Lena, I didn't." My voice broke. You're lying. You're lying. Her lips curled slightly. I'm not. Before I could step forward, a heavy pain exploded in my hands. I screamed, clutching them as metal cuffs slammed down, crushing my fingers. What? Why? I cried, tears stinging. Stop resisting, the officer barked. This is for your own safety. I looked at Lena, confusion and horror mingling. You did this to me? I had to, she said calmly. Otherwise, you'd destroy everything. Destroy what? Lena, I don't even my voice. Faltered as another officer approached with a small metallic device that tightened over my knuckles. Agony shot through me. I gasped, falling to my knees. You're under arrest, he said again. Any resistance will only make it worse. Eyes never wavered from mine. I'm sorry it had to come to this. Sorry, I croaked through the pain. This isn't sorry, it's betrayal. I trusted you. She shrugged slightly, stepping back. Trust doesn't matter when survival is on the line. You should have known better. Survival? Yelled, we had a life. I loved you. How could you love isn't enough? She interrupted, her tone sharp. I did what I had to do. The officers helped me to my feet, supporting my broken hands as I tried to stay upright. Every movement sent fire through my palms. I felt numb and furious all at once. At the hospital, the doctor examined my hands, grimacing. I'm afraid. The damage is severe, he said, his voice professional but heavy with concern. There's permanent crushing. You'll need surgery and recovery will be slow. Slow? I asked, disbelief making my words tremble. I won't be able to work. I can't even. You need to focus on healing first, he said firmly. Right now, your hands are a priority. Pushing them too soon could cause permanent disability. I sank back onto the hospital bed, staring at my mangled hands. Lena's face flashed before my eyes, cold and calculated. I remembered her smile that morning, the soft tone in her voice. And now this. The police officer leaned in, clipboard in hand. We need your statement. I don't remember anything, I cried. I didn't kill him. You've got it all wrong, sighed, rubbing his temples. I'll record your claim, but right now the evidence isn't in your favor. Try to stay calm. Lena's voice echoed in my mind. I did what I had to do. I closed my eyes, trying to block it out. But the pain in my hands, the betrayal, the accusations, it all hit me at once. I had no idea how to reconcile the woman I loved with the one who could do this. Sir, the doctor said gently, you need rest. We can talk more later, but your hands and your health must come first. I nodded, barely hearing him. My mind was spinning with disbelief and fear. How had it come to this? The person I trusted the most, the one I shared my life with, had turned against me. And for what? Money, power, revenge. I looked out the hospital window, the city lights flickering, feeling utterly alone. Lena had fractured everything I believed in. The officer's voice pulled me back. We'll return tomorrow for further questioning. Get some rest. Rest. I tried to swallow past the pain, tried to think about sleep. But how could I rest when everything I thought I knew, my wife, my life, my hands, had been destroyed in a single night? I closed my eyes, gripping the hospital sheets, trying to hold on to the last shred of hope that this wasn't real. But deep down I knew it was. Lena had betrayed me, and nothing would ever feel the same again. Just tight around my fingers. Every slight movement sent a jolt of pain up my arms. The world felt smaller, suffocating. I hadn't realized how much I relied on my hands until they were useless. The door clicked open, and my lawyer, Mr. Kane, stepped in. His suit was crisp, his expression cautious. How are we holding up? He asked, his tone professional, but not unkind. Do you even want to know? I muttered. Because I feel like I'm losing everything. My life, my wife, my sanity. He frowned. I won't sugarcoat it. The evidence against you is overwhelming. Lena's testimony is solid. The CCTV footage places you near the scene, and witnesses are backing her story. I swallowed hard, the panic clawing at my chest. It's all lies. She set me up, Kane. I didn't do this. You have to believe me. I believe you, he said calmly. But belief alone won't get you out. You need strategy. We need witnesses, alibis, anything to counter her story. And I need you focused. I leaned back, closing my eyes. Focused. And my hands are useless. Everyone I know, Varian, I thought, cared. They've stopped calling. They avoid me. My colleagues, my friends I know, he said quietly. Social isolation is part of this. Lena's playing the long game. People are afraid of being associated with you. That's why we need evidence to fight back, not rely on who's left. I clenched my fists, though the pain shot through me. Instantly. I can't believe she did this. I should have seen it coming. I trusted her completely. Regret isn't going to help, Kane said sharply. You can't change the past. You can only plan your next move. That's what you need to focus on. I looked at him, frustration boiling over. Next move? I feel trapped. Every door is closed. Every ally gone. She's taken everything from me. He leaned forward. Not everything. You still have your... Mind you, still have the ability to fight. But it has to be smart, calculated, not emotional. I let out a bitter laugh. Smart? Calculated? I don't even know where to start. She's the one with control right now. Everyone thinks I'm guilty. Everyone except you. And that's enough for now, Kane said. We'll start small. Interviews with witnesses, tracing her steps, uncovering inconsistencies. Every tiny detail matters. I nodded slowly, though anger and helplessness churned inside me. I keep thinking back. The little things I ignored. The nights she came home late, the vague excuses, the constant secrecy. I thought it was normal. I thought I was imagining things. But maybe you should have trusted. Your instincts, Kane said. But hindsight doesn't help now. It's about forward action. I buried my face in my hands. Forward action, right? I have to survive this. I have to prove she's lying. But how? How do I convince anyone when even my own hands betray me? Kane placed a hand on my shoulder. Start by thinking strategically. Alibis, timelines, witnesses who will talk if approached carefully. Small victories will add up, and I'll guide you. You're not alone in this, even if it feels like it. I let his words sink in, though the sting of betrayal and isolation lingered. I thought about my colleagues' faces that once greeted me warmly, now avoided me in the hallways. The phone calls that used to fill my day were replaced by silence. I felt like a ghost, existing but unseen, powerless to change anything. Everyone I cared about, they're gone, I whispered. She's taken everything from me. No, Kane corrected gently. She hasn't. She hasn't taken your resolve. She hasn't taken your mind. That's where your power lies now. Use it. I closed my eyes, imagining her face, smiling, cold, confident. A surge of determination replaced some of the despair. All right, I said quietly, my voice firmer. We start tomorrow. We find cracks in her story. We bring the truth to light. Kane nodded. That's the spirit. It won't be easy. She's manipulative, dangerous, but nothing is permanent. Every lie has a weakness. We just have to find it. I clenched my jaw, staring at my bandaged hands. Pain radiated, but I welcomed it as a reminder. Every moment of suffering fueled my resolve. Lena had underestimated me. She had assumed I'd collapse, but I wouldn't. I couldn't. I'll fight, I said, more to myself than to Kane. I'll find a way. I'll prove her lies. When I do, she won't see it coming. Kane gave a small, approving nod. Good. That's the mindset you need. Keep that fire, but control it. Smart moves. Step by step. We'll get there. I nodded again, staring out the window at the city lights. Alone, betrayed, and powerless I was still alive. And that meant I still had a chance. I sat in my small sterile apartment, my hands still throbbing from the hospital bandages. Every movement was agony, but the pain fueled my anger. Lena had tried to destroy me, and I refused to let her win. I needed answers. I needed the truth. The first call I made was to Clara, my neighbor, who occasionally helped Lena with errands. Clara, I need your help, I said, trying to keep my voice calm. Mr. Adams? She replied hesitantly. I don't know if I should. You can trust me, I insisted. It's about Lena. Please, anything you know, just tell me. There was a pause. Well, she's been meeting someone at the cafe on 5th every Tuesday night. She's secretive, always looking over her shoulder. I thought it was business, but I don't know. Seems strange. Tuesday nights, I muttered, scribbling it down. Did anyone see her leaving with anyone? Sometimes, Clara admitted. A man always in a suit, never spoke much. She laughed, but it didn't seem genuine. Thank you, I said, gripping the phone tightly. You just gave me something I can work with. I ended the call and leaned back, the realization settling in. Lena had secrets, a perfect life. I thought I had was a lie. Every missed call, every vague excuse, it all made sense now. The next morning, spoke with my assistant, Marco. Marco, I need a favor, I said, wincing as my hands throbbed. But do you remember Lena asking you about my schedule last month? Marco's eyes narrowed. She did, yes. She was curious about when you'd be away. I thought it was odd at the time, but now it makes sense, I interrupted. She was planning something. Did you notice anything else? Anyone she called? Anyone visiting? Marco shook his head slowly. Not directly, but she asked a lot about office files, especially contracts. I thought she was just nosy, but I nodded grimly. She was setting up something against me. Thank you, Marco. That's very helpful. Later, I called Tom, a coworker who often drove Lena too. My office parties? Tom, I need to know everything about Lena's last month, I said, wincing as I held the phone. Tom hesitated. Are you sure, man? You know she's tricky. People get caught in her web. I don't care, I snapped. I need the truth. Lives are at stake. Mine included, he sighed. All right. She was meeting someone almost every night after work. Late dinners, quiet streets, always avoiding cameras. She laughed, flirted. No, acting like herself, but I swear it wasn't her. She was calculating. I felt a bitter smile. Thank you, Tom. That's exactly what I needed. Might have saved me weeks of dead ends. As I hung up, flashes of Lena's manipulative nature hit me, how she'd twist words, feign innocence, and always seem 2 steps ahead. Anger burned hot, but clarity followed. I wasn't going to be her victim anymore. I spent the next few days interviewing minor witnesses, neighbors, delivery people. Did she ever ask you to do something unusual, I'd ask? Did she ever meet anyone in secret? Each answer, hesitant at first, revealed more cracks in Lena's carefully crafted image. One neighbor whispered, yeah, she told me. She had an important business project, but she never brought work home. She always left smiling like she had a secret. Another delivery guy said she'd sometimes pay extra for late-night deliveries, always for someone she'd never mentioned. Piece by piece, a pattern emerged. Lena had planned this for months. Every lie, every smile, every touch, it had been calculated. My naivety had blinded me. I sank back into the chair, clutching my hands. You underestimated me, Lena. Muttered, you thought I'd be broken. You thought I'd believe your lies forever. But I see now, I see everything. The anger was still there, but now it was sharpened, focused. I would use every detail, every hint, every secret she tried to hide. I would turn her manipulations against her. I dialed Kane, my lawyer, excitement and determination in my voice despite my pain. Kane, I have something. Yes. I've got witnesses, timelines we can expose her lies. She won't see it coming. Good, he replied. Now we're moving in the right direction. Keep collecting, keep recording. Every small detail matters. You're no longer a victim, you're strategizing. I hung up, staring at my hands, battered but capable of more than they knew. Lena had started this war, but now I was awake. No longer naive, no longer powerless, and this time I wouldn't let her win. My mind sharper than ever. Every piece of paper, every bank statement, every note from Lena was a thread leading to the truth. I had to untangle it carefully. I called. Marco, my assistant. Marco, do you remember any unusual transfers in the accounts last month? I asked, my voice steady despite the anger simmering underneath. Marco hesitated. Well, now that you mention it, there were a few transfers I didn't recognize. I thought maybe it was routine for her projects. Projects? I asked, leaning closer to the phone. Or schemes? I need every detail, Marco. Every transaction, every recipient, no matter how small. I can check again, he said cautiously. There were some shell companies, but I didn't question her. Thought it was normal. Good, I said sharply. Check everything and send me copies. Every single file. I hung up, running my fingers over the documents. There it was. Web of accounts, minor accomplices, and coded notes. Lena had planned this meticulously. Every payment, every meeting, every whispered instruction to those around, heard all connected. My blood boiled. The phone buzzed. It was Tom, a coworker who had reluctantly given me information before. I found something, he said quietly. Some of Lena's associates, they were paid to monitor you. They kept logs of your movements, your conversations. It's all documented. I gritted my teeth. Send me everything, Tom. Now, there's more, he added. I don't know how much you can use it, but they meet at a warehouse near the docks. She's careful but sloppy in some ways. You could catch her. I felt a surge of hope. Thanks, Tom. You just gave me a chance. It's all I need right now. I hung up, my mind spinning. Every step Lena took, she had thought she was invisible. But I was watching now, connecting the dots, slowly becoming the strategist she had underestimated. Later that evening, Lena called. Her voice was sweet, laced with false warmth. Darling, I hope you're resting. I wanted to check on you. Yeah. Clenched my fists under the table. Why are you calling? I asked, keeping my voice calm. I just wanted to make sure you're okay, she said, pretending concern. It must be difficult for you, all alone in that hospital bed. I'm fine, I replied, though my heart pounded. Really, I'm managing? Her laugh was light, teasing. You always did have a strong will. Known how to get what I want? I froze. Her words cut deeper than any blow. What do you mean by that? I asked carefully, trying to mask the fury in my voice. Nothing, she said airily, though the smile in her tone was cruel. Just be careful. Some things are better left untouched. I hung up, my mind racing. She was gloating, taunting. Me emotionally, showing just enough of her hand to make me furious, but not enough to strike back immediately. I had to stay calm, patient. Every piece of her arrogance would become a weakness. The next day I visited Clara again. Did Lena ever mention anyone named Victor, I asked? She hesitated. Yes, once. She called him for deliveries, meetings. I think he's one of her helpers. She always seemed secretive about him, Victor. That name clicked in my mind. One of the minor accomplices, someone paid to handle her dirty work while she stayed untouchable. I noted every detail. This was the pattern and invisible network supporting her plot. I spent hours piecing everything together, connecting transactions to meetings, meetings to accomplices, and accomplices to actions that isolated me completely. Lena's greed was clear now. She wasn't just after power, she wanted everything I had built. Every asset, every deal, every bit of my life. She had planned it meticulously. Yet even in the darkness, a spark of hope emerged. My phone buzzed again, Mr. Blackwood's number. He wanted to meet. I hesitated, remembering his intimidating presence, his judgmental eyes. But this time, I felt a sliver of trust. Perhaps he knew something I didn't. Perhaps finally, I hadn't a lie, though his intentions were uncertain. Took a deep breath, staring at my hands. Bandaged and weak, yes, but they were still mine, and so was my mind. I could think, plan, and strike. Lena had underestimated me. She had assumed I would crumble, but I wasn't crumbling. I was awakening, and soon every secret she had tried to hide would be exposed. The knock on my apartment door was soft, almost hesitant. My hands itched to move faster than they could, bandages and pain slowing every motion. I opened the door to find Mr. Blackwood standing in the hallway, his expression unreadable. Sir, I began cautiously, what are you doing here? Stepped inside, closing the door quietly behind him. We need to talk, alone. His voice was low, deliberate, commanding attention without shouting. About Lena? I asked, suspicion coiling in my chest. Yes, he said, settling into a chair like he owned the place. But first let me be clear. I knew she was capable of this. I knew she would set you up. I froze, disbelief cutting through me. You what? You knew? I did, he said calmly, folding his hands. I didn't stop her, didn't warn you, and I let her move forward with her plan. I could barely breathe. Why? Why would? You let her do this to me? To yourself? To your family? Reputation, he said quietly. Power, respect. I couldn't afford to interfere. You have to understand, if I stopped her, it would ruin me. And perhaps it would have made her angry in ways I couldn't control. Control? She's destroying me, I yelled, the pain and betrayal fueling my words. My life, my hands, my reputation, all because you chose your pride over justice. He didn't flinch. You assume it's that simple. Life is never that simple. His eyes softened slightly. But I can help you now. I stared at him, skeptical. Help me. After everything, how can I trust you? You may not trust me, he admitted, but you need the truth. The truth can save you if you're willing to pay the price. Felt my pulse quicken? The truth? What do you mean? What price? He leaned forward, his gaze piercing. Lena's greed isn't new. She has manipulated, lied, and used people before. I know her network, her accomplices, the places she hides her movements, the accounts she thought were secret. I can give you all of that, I asked, my voice trembling. You can undo this nightmare? Not entirely, he said, his tone sober, but it can give you leverage. It can expose her lies, her manipulations. But it's dangerous. She is unpredictable. One wrong move, and she could destroy what little progress you've made. I swallowed, trying to absorb what he was offering. Why are you doing this, after leaving me to suffer? Why now? Because, he said slowly, I am tired of watching her destroy everyone in her path. I've failed to act before, but I see now that you're different. You're not like the others who let her bend them. You have the will to fight, to strategize. And if someone doesn't stop her, she'll keep hurting people. Stop her, I whispered. And what do you get out of this? He looked away for a moment, then back at me. I don't get much. Maybe a chance to correct past mistakes, maybe a shred of conscience left, but you get survival. And perhaps justice. I shook my head, disbelief and caution warring inside me. I don't know if I can trust you, Mr. Blackwood. You knew she would do this, and yet you did nothing. I know, he said, voice heavy with regret, and that is my burden to carry. But now I can guide you. I can give you the pieces. Of the puzzle she thought were hidden, I clenched my fists, aching, frustrated, but also a spark of hope igniting inside me. All right, I said cautiously. Tell me everything. It's every name, every account, every accomplice. I need to know. It all? He nodded. There are at least 3 main people working for her directly. Victor, Marcus, and Alina. They handle finances, logistics, and information. You will need to track them carefully. Any confrontation could tip her off. Timing is crucial. Scribbled notes as he spoke, and Lena herself. How do I approach her? You don't, he said firmly. Not until you have the evidence and leverage. Any premature move, and she will turn everything against you again. Patience is your weapon. I exhaled slowly, absorbing every word. So you're giving me the tools to fight back. Yeah, but I have to do it alone. Not entirely, he said. I'll provide guidance, but the action must come from you. Will never see me as a threat, so you can use that. But trust only yourself in the end. I leaned back, the weight of the revelation settling on me. This changes everything, I whispered. Everything I believed about my life, my marriage. It's all a lie. But maybe with your help I can fix it. You can, he said, his tone firm. But remember, every step you take must be precise. Lena is dangerous, and she will try to break you again if given the chance. I nodded, a mixture of fear and determination coursing through me. I understand. I won't make the same mistakes. I'll be careful, but I won't stop. Not until she's exposed. He studied me silently for a moment, That's the resolve you need. Use the knowledge I give you wisely, and perhaps you'll reclaim what was taken from you. I stared at him, the realization sinking in. For the first time in weeks, I felt a spark of control. Lena had underestimated me, but with this revelation, the game had changed. I would survive, I would fight, and now I might finally have a chance to win. Heart pounding but mind razor sharp. Lena was there, sitting on the couch with that same smile she always wore, the one that used to make me melt. Now it made my blood boil back. "So soon?" she asked lightly, her voice dripping with feigned warmth. "I thought you'd be resting." "I'm not here to rest," I said, setting my bag on the table. "We need to talk now." She tilted her head, pretending curiosity. "Oh, about what, exactly?" I opened the bag, pulling out folders, bank statements, and printed emails. "About you. About every lie, every manipulation, every scheme you've orchestrated against me." Her eyes narrowed, but her tone remained calm. "Careful, darling. Accusations without proof can backfire." I slammed a folder onto the table. "Proof enough?" I said, flipping it open to reveal bank transfers, messages, and timelines. Victor Marcus Elaine all paid to spy, to manipulate, to make me look guilty. You smiling the whole time? Thinking I wouldn't see it, she leaned back, letting out a soft laugh. "You're impressive, I'll give you that. Persistent, but still naive. You think exposing a few names will destroy me? It's not just a few names," I said, my voice trembling with rage. "It's every transaction, every meeting, every person you used like pawns in your game. And you made me believe. You loved me." Lena's smile didn't falter. "Love is just a tool, my dear, and you wielded it poorly. Should have seen the signs." "I did see the signs," I said through gritted teeth. I just didn't want to believe them. "Now I do. You're nothing but a manipulator, a liar, a predator, and it ends tonight." She tilted her head, mock concern in her eyes. "Ends. Do you really think you can stop me that easily? Do you think a few pieces of paper can undo years of careful planning?" "It's not just the paper," I said, pulling out my phone and opening a video clip. "It's the people who are tired of following you blindly. Victor Marcus Elaine, they've been recording everything. They're starting to falter because they realize your greed and recklessness. Your control is slipping." For the first time, a flicker of unease crossed, her face quickly masked by arrogance. "You think they'll betray me for one night of doubt, please? They've benefited from me for years." "Not anymore," I said firmly. "They're afraid, Lena. Afraid of what's coming. Afraid of you losing. And I've given them reason to think twice about loyalty built on lies." Her eyes hardened. "You think this gives you power over me?" "It doesn't. You could expose me, embarrass me, maybe ruin me socially, financially, but that's all temporary. I survive." "You survive until you make a mistake," I said, voice low. "Dangerous, and you just made one." Blinked, startled. "Mistake? What mistake?" "The very arrogance you've been showing," I said, flipping through more files. "You underestimated me. You underestimated the people around you. And in your overconfidence, you left traces, mails, messages, accomplices who are starting to talk. Your web is unraveling, Lena." She stood, pacing slowly, every movement deliberate. "You've become quite the strategist, haven't you? I almost admire it. Almost—" "I'm not here for admiration," I snapped. "I'm here for justice or revenge. And I'm choosing my own terms." Her voice dropped, a dangerous whisper. "What are your terms? Public humiliation? Legal battles? Do you think the world will care about your truth?" "I don't care what the world thinks," I said. "I care about exposing you, making sure you can't hurt anyone else. And that starts with your allies faltering. Every secret, every lie, they're crumbling, and you're losing control." Her face twisted with frustration. You can't." "Do this, I already am," I said, holding up a folder filled with financial records. "And soon the rest of your network will see the cracks. Your so-called friends will realize they've been pawns, and they'll turn. And when that happens, you'll have no one, just like I had nothing when you betrayed me." She faltered for a split second, glancing at the folder. You You wouldn't dare. I would, I said firmly, but I'm not reckless. Careful, I'm patient, and you've left me no choice but to act. Your manipulation ends tonight, Lena. Every lie you've told will surface. Every ally will question loyalty, every account traced, every secret exposed. And I'll be the one controlling how it happens. She opened her mouth to reply, then paused, realizing for the first time that I wasn't bluffing. The arrogance faded, replaced by panic beneath the mask of composure. You think you've won? She whispered, voice trembling slightly. Not yet, I said, voice cold, but soon. When that day comes, you'll regret every choice you made against me. Her shoulders stiffened, her gaze darting to her phone. I saw her hesitate. A small mistake, a message sent too early, a call she shouldn't have made. Her network was already faltering, and she knew it. I leaned forward, letting my resolve show. You left yourself vulnerable. I won't let you recover. Not this time. Her lips pressed into a thin line, realizing the battle had shifted. For the first time, I saw fear. That fear was my first real victory. I leaned forward, my hands resting on the evidence I had pieced together. Is everything ready? I asked, scanning the faces of my allies, Victor Marcus. And Alina Victor nodded firmly. The recordings are clear. Lena can't deny them. Alina opened her laptop. Bank transfers too. We traced every account. Once the press sees this, she won't have anywhere to hide. Marcus leaned back, smirking. She's been untouchable for too long. Feels good watching the queen fall. I exhaled slowly. This isn't about revenge alone. It's about ending her grip on all of us. The lawyer, a sharp-eyed woman named Claire, looked at me across the table. Once I present this in court, Lena's assets will be frozen. But are you sure you want the media involved? Once this leaks, it's permanent? Yes, I said firmly. She thrived in shadows. Now she faces the light. The door opened. Mr. Blackwood stepped inside, his presence chilling the room. Said nothing at first, just studied the files. His expression unreadable. You're really doing this? He said finally. Yes, I replied. You knew what she was capable of. You let it go on. It's not anymore. His jaw tightened. I can't protect her from this. I'm not asking you to, I said coldly. I just want you to watch. The hearing the next day was chaos. Reporters crowded outside, cameras flashing. Lena walked in, elegant as ever, dressed in black, her chin high. She smirked at me as we sat across from each other. Quite the audience you've gathered. Truth deserves witnesses, I said. The judge called order, and Claire began presenting evidence. The recordings played first, Lena's voice giving orders to frame me, mocking my trust. Murmurs filled the courtroom. Lena's smile flickered, but she recovered quickly. Fabrications, she said coolly. Taken out of context, Victor stood suddenly. Context? You paid me to lie? I followed your instructions, and now I'm done. Covering for you, the room erupted. The judge demanded silence. Alina rose next. You manipulated us all. He was terrified of you, but not anymore. You can't twist this. Marcus added, Your reign is over, Lena. We're free. Lena turned to me, eyes blazing. You turned them all against me, I said softly. You did that yourself? Claire laid out the bank statements, tracing every illegal transfer, every bribe. This isn't betrayal, Ms. Blackwood. This is exposure. The judge's face hardened as he studied the documents. This evidence is overwhelming. Porters scribbled frantically, cameras clicking. Lena's mask began to crack, though she fought to maintain composure. This is a circus, she snapped. You'll regret dragging me here, all of you. I leaned forward. You're wrong. The only regret here is ever trusting you. Her father shifted in his seat behind her, silent but grim, his gaze fixed on the floor. When the judge announced the freezing of her accounts and the beginning of criminal investigation, Lena finally faltered. She stood abruptly, her voice sharp but shaking. I am not finished. You'll see I'll rise again, but no one believed her. Not anymore. Outside. Reporters swarmed, microphones thrust toward me. How does it feel exposing her? Do you feel vindicated? I paused, the chaos surrounding me. It's not about vindication. It's about truth. Lies have consequences. And today, they caught up with her. Victor clapped me on the shoulder. You did it. She can't hurt us anymore, Lena gave me a small smile. We're finally free. Marcus chuckled. And she's left with nothing but her pride. Fitting, isn't it? I nodded, though my chest felt heavy. It's over for her, but the scars remain. Later, I found myself alone outside the courthouse, the evening air cool against my skin. Mr. Blackwood approached quietly. You destroyed her, he said, voice low. She destroyed herself, I replied. I just pulled back the curtain. He studied me, his eyes shadowed. Do you feel better? Hesitated, then shook my head. Relieved, maybe, but better? No, she took too much for that. He sighed. She was always reckless. But proud, too proud to ever bend. Pride won't save her now, I said. He nodded once. Justice was served. But justice doesn't heal. Time does. Remember that. I looked at him, unsure if he was offering comfort or absolution. Try. As he walked away, I stared at the courthouse doors, the echoes of Lena's defiance still ringing in my mind. Yes, she had fallen public shame. Financial ruin, allies turned against her. Yet even in defeat, she refused to show weakness. That was her nature, unrepentant to the end. And me. I had one, but victory tasted bittersweet. Because though karma had claimed her, the memory of betrayal would never truly leave me. The trial was over, but the echoes lingered. I sat in my apartment, the silence pressing against me. The city outside roared with life, but inside it felt empty. My phone buzzed. Victor's name flashed. I answered. You? Holding up? He asked. I don't know, I admitted. It feels strange. I should be celebrating, but it doesn't fix the hole she left, he finished. Exactly. There was a pause before he said, She's gone, man. Publicly disgraced, broke, abandoned. That's as much closure as anyone gets. Closure doesn't erase scars, I whispered. Later that night, Alina showed up, carrying takeout. She set the bags down with a soft smile. You look like you haven't eaten in days, she said. I smirked faintly. Guess I lost my appetite around the time Lena tried to ruin my life. She sat across from me. You fought back. Most people wouldn't have. That matters. I keep thinking about the look on her face, I murmured. Even at the end, she wasn't sorry, just furious she lost. That's who she is, Alina said firmly. Or was. Don't give her power by remembering her that way. I stared at the food but didn't move. How do I move forward when my past feels like quicksand? You choose not to sink, she replied. The next morning, Marcus barged into my office with his usual blunt energy. You look like hell, he said. Nice to see you too, I muttered. He leaned against my desk. Look, I know you're drowning. In reflection and all that, but hear me out. You won. She's finished. Don't waste that victory by wallowing. Easier said than done, of course. But if you let her ghost haunt you, she wins again. You want that? No, I admitted. Then live, start fresh. Take what's left of your soul and build something new. His words stayed with me. That evening, I went for a walk, trying to clear my head. Streets were alive, couples laughing, children chasing each other, strangers lost in their worlds. Life moved forward, whether I wanted to or not. Halfway through the park, a familiar voice stopped me. You walk like a man carrying stones. I turned. Mr. Blackwood stood there, leaning on a cane. What do you want? I asked, tired. He studied me. What kind of man you are after victory, and what do you see? A man uncertain if he's free or still chained to the past. I exhaled sharply. Your daughter almost destroyed me. She destroyed herself, he corrected. You were just the mirror she couldn't bear. Do you feel sorry for her? I asked bitterly. He looked away, his silence stretching long before he spoke. I feel sorry for what she could have been, but Lena made her choices. We all. Do you regret letting her hurt people? His jaw clenched. Every day, but regret doesn't undo damage. I stared at him, searching for lies, but all I found was weariness. And what now? Now you heal, he said simply. Justice has been served. Don't waste your life feeding on the ashes. I walked away, but his words gnawed at me. When I got home, Alina was waiting. She looked at me carefully. You saw him, didn't you? Yes. And he said healing is the only way forward. She tilted her head. Do you believe him? I don't know, I admitted. But maybe he's right. Maybe I've been holding on to the fire too long. Alina reached for my hand. Then let go. I squeezed her hand lightly, uncertain but grateful. What if I can't? Then we'll help you, she said. You don't have to do this alone. For the first time in weeks, a faint warmth touched the cold inside me. The next days blurred together calls from allies, messages of support, invitations to speak about truth and resilience. People wanted me to be a symbol. But I wasn't. Symbol, I was just someone trying to rebuild. Victor called again. You should come with us tonight. A small gathering. Nothing heavy. Just friends. I hesitated, then agreed. At the gathering, laughter filled the air, light and unforced. I watched my friends smile, their burdens lifted now that Lena's shadow no longer loomed. Marcus raised his glass. To freedom, Lena added, and to healing. They all looked at me, lifted my glass slowly, and to never letting betrayal define us. The toast rang out, voices strong, the sound wrapping around me like a shield. For the first time, I allowed myself to breathe without the weight of her name pressing on my chest. Later that night, alone again, I stood by the window, watching the city lights flicker. My reflection stared back at me, tired but steadier. Lena was gone. Her pride might never bend, but her empire had crumbled. And though scars remained, I finally believed scars didn't mean the end. It meant survival. I whispered to myself, barely audible, I'm still here. And for the first time, that was enough.